Welcome to the Movie Draft Podcast. I'm Ethan Simi, and today I'm joined by my favorite co-host that is currently recording a podcast with me and not laying on a beach in Mexico, Ben Lawhorn.
Hello. In a week, I'll be laying on a beach in Hawaii. So then Sophie can be your favorite co-host after that.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I do want Sophie to know that I, at gunpoint, was forced to put that in the notes and then just realized that now I have to go back on that because you will be in Hawaii. It's kind of a low blow.
I think one co-host should always be on the beach, basically, is what I'm...
Look, you can pod from anywhere.
It's true.
Where's Sophie? You know what I mean?
That's true.
And we have two lovely guests for this episode. First up is Bethanne Tarpley of the Sipping on Cinema podcast.
Hello. It's good to be back. It's been a bit.
And Alden Diaz of Anytime with Ken and Alden.
Hello, my friends. Good to be here, to be back, ready to be stressed again.
I love to hear that. And today we are collaboratively drafting Harrison Ford films in a collaborative style draft. This topic has been on our calendar for many a months, and it has been pushed out for many a months, and we are finally here. None of us are on a beach, but we are podcasting, and we are here to talk about Harrison Ford. Bethanne, the last time you were on the pod, about 30 episodes ago, you were on for the MCU Super Collab Draft number 1. I think we did slots 16 through 30, and
it was the bottom level.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, there was a little bit of stress regarding, was this Doctor Strange, Eternals? There was a lot of drama for the bottom half of the MCU.
I just want to go on record that I was pressured to make choices that I did not want to make, but I made for the betterment of the podcast, and I would say the world.
Yeah,
wow.
Society
the
itself.
World.
Yeah. Exactly
wow.
Right.
Whew. Okay, that's big. I'm glad you feel that. Very strong feelings. Alden, the last time, and I think only time that you were on the Movie Draft podcast was for the remakes auction draft, which was a good time.
Yes,
you and Ben. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, the world's on fire, but it's also been on fire before. And who's been there throughout all of it? Harrison Ford.
Yes,
and so that's 80 years of greatness. And probably in 50 of working, in at least as an actor. Yeah, I'm excited. This is a topic that I was excited you came to me about. I love this man, and I'm ready.
I will say you were first on the call sheet when I was like, we're doing a Harrison Ford draft. Alden first on the call sheet.
Even before me, it was kind of weird, but yeah.
For sure. I was like, can I just do this with Alden? And then turns out we need more people. Yeah. Ben, hi. How are you?
Hello.
Welcome back to the pod. What's the last draft that you were on? This is a good question.
That's a great question. I had to wipe the literal dust off my mic. 100 minutes or less. 100
minutes or less movies.
Do we think this is going to go 100 minutes or less?
Oh, this will go 300 minutes. This will be this will be the
for
brutalist cut right here. This is the big one.
Intermission. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome if we introduced intermissions at pick 7 and really threw a wrench, a curveball in the strategizing here. Yeah, the last time you were on here was 100 minutes or less movie auction. That was a good time. That was fun.
Yeah.
But we're doing Harrison Ford today. We're talking about
Here's
Harrison
a question I'm going to throw out to you guys.
Yeah.
Bethanne, you were on the MCU bottom half. Do we think Harrison Ford would end up there today if we redid that draft? Thanks to Captain America, Brave New World.
So I haven't seen it yet. But
let me answer that question for you, Bethanne.
Based on the trajectory of the MCU, I would argue it's probably mid, is my guess.
Okay.
I would argue that it's
the movie,
the very bottom. It's the very bottom of the MCU.
Damn.
I think it's my fourth or fifth to last of the films. There are some people that put the Disney Plus. I don't do that, but but he's the best part of it, which will be a recurring theme.
Anytime that man gets to play president, I mean, that's the life. I feel like producers, that's the Hail Mary. Can we cast Harrison Ford as president?
For sure. No one commits to a bit like him, which is the joy of that Brave New World film, is that he
respect that.
there are scenes where he doesn't Hulk out, but he's about to. And he's just like veins on his neck and everything. Like, this man did not take the check without working.
He did it. He did the work.
Ben, I don't know why you throw that out. We're not going to play it here on this draft. Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. I mean,
Secret
we're
Life
about
of Pets 2 is possible.
Yes, exactly.
Borat. I don't know. Anything's out there. You
It's
know?
all up for grabs.
Anchorman 2 is possible.
It's all up for grabs. Yeah, yet to be seen how we will traverse and trek this Harrison Ford collaborative draft. I'm always at a crossroads. Are we doing this to honor the actor? Are we building a pseudo, kind of Mount Rushmore? Are we inducting them into a Hall of Fame? Are we just saying, hey, here's the funnest roles they had? Yet to be seen. We'll see. We should hash that out before we do so, and before we dig into Harrison Ford and the auction. I do so regrettably want to put out that last week's episode, the 2015 draft, I was notified that I breached protocol here on the show, and I did, in fact, draft a movie from 2011. Look, it takes a big man to own up to his mistakes. I am that big man, except I had a lot of guests, and nobody said a damn word. Nobody said anything, and nobody called me out. And I'm, a man is only as successful as the people he surrounds himself with. So instead of drafting Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, I meant to draft Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, the film that did come out in 2015. I state my regret. I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's where we're at right now.
What an apology.
Yeah,
so the commission of movie drafting doesn't come after you.
To the board. Yeah. Exactly.
Understandable.
Yeah. I don't want to lose my tenure here at the show. I really am just trying to make sure top down that everything's safe and kosher. I was told with great disdain on social media that I had made a mistake, and I apologize for that. Again, it wasn't my fault. I just, Mission Impossible.
No,
they're all
sure.
good. What do you?
How would
do?
Tom Cruise feel if he knew that you mixed up his installments? Like, it's
Oh my
you have
gosh.
to make it right. You have to make it right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I have to make it right. I got to come back for one more. Look, we have a new Mission Impossible coming out this summer. There might be a Mission Impossible draft on the calendar. Who's to say? I am. There is, which is really exciting because I can't wait to do Mission Impossible movies. Okay, we're here today not to talk about Tom Cruise or Mission Impossible, but to talk about a different type of impossible mission, ranking the 13 best, most important, funnest Harrison Ford films. Harrison Ford only nominated for one Oscar in his lifetime in 1986 for Witness. I want to open the floor. We're going to talk about Harrison Ford as an actor. What does he mean to you personally? But I'm curious from you guys. I'll start with Ben. Should he have an Academy Award? Should he be an Oscar-winning actor?
I have watched some new films in prep for this, and I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like, I think he is a solid actor. I think he does a great job. I kind of picture him as the, what was that failed thing the Oscars tried to do? Like, where it was like the most popular movie rather than just like
Enter the Flash.
I forget what that was. Yeah. It is something like that. I feel like Harrison deserves one of those because he's carried a lot of franchises. I feel like there's got to be a lifetime achievement coming up at some point. But, personally, not to show my cards too much, but I would have given him one for Witness. Like, I thought he was great.
Oh, interesting.
I'm curious who he was up against, actually. While you ask everyone else, I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, you should look that up and come back. He was supposed to present at this year's 97th Academy Awards. Unfortunately, got diagnosed with shingles a few days before the telecast and could not speak there. I guess could not be there. Alden, I'll toss it to you. Should Harrison Ford have an Academy Award?
He should, at the very least, have several more nominations than he does. I would also have to look at the competition for some of these years. I will also show my cards a tad and say that he is, in my estimation, the only major, franchise man I've known for these roles guy whose best work, as all of them, is at the end. And to have, as an actor, to have evolved that way, I think is really special, especially in genres that never get their due. Because as we know, as Oscar watchers, they throw the bone to genre every now and then. That way they don't have to for a few years. Sure. Shape of Water, Everything Everywhere. Lord of the Rings covered fantasy for them forever, it seems like. They never touched fantasy ever again. So it's like, there are roles that he probably would have never gotten his due for in the times, and that's just reality. But yeah, I think Harrison is an amazing actor, and he created, I think, a certain mold. Like, there wouldn't be a Gosling if not for Harrison. There wouldn't be a Glenn Powell if not for Harrison. It's not every action star falls in that line, but there's a goofy Nathan Fillion, even though he never had that level of star power, has talked about how Harrison taught him how to fall. Like you watch him and he has a physicality that other guys don't have. So he's a special guy.
I think you make a good point of Harrison Ford essentially realizing, signifying, and creating a mold of an actor. And there is only one Harrison Ford, but there are many Harrison Ford offshoots that have taken from his, I guess, how should you say, Alden, you'll have to help me with the proper Star Wars term. Is it, what does he get frozen in? Carbonite mold. Yeah. How about that? Well, yes. Rewind. Let me do the joke again because it was a good joke. It was good, and then I lost it at the end.
Just putting a studio laughter.
Laugh track over it.
Pay no attention to the Ethan behind the
microphone. Bethanne, should Harrison Ford have an Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's one of those American standard actors that you kind of are shocked doesn't. But I also want to flip the question because Harrison Ford also strikes me as a guy who doesn't give a damn if he has an Oscar. He's one of those people who actually just does the job and does it right. And in my book, I always see that as a true sign of someone who understands their craft when they're not just going for the Oscar, right? They're not just going like, what was it? Timothée Chalamet, I read Grew His Nails for 5 years or something stupid like that. Well, that's not stupid. But just to play the guitar right for the Bob Dylan biopic, whereas Harrison Ford would just do it because that's what's required for the role. Like he's not thinking in that sphere. At least that's what comes across to me when I think of his work. I just see a guy who's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I can't picture Harrison Ford doing the "I want to be one of the greats"
exactly
monologue
what I was gonna say.
Chalamet did, right? Like he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like I just want to get paid.
Exactly. He is
which I do like. I like. But Harrison doesn't. It's not because he we'll talk about it in his history, but he was a carpenter and he sort of found all of this, wanted acting, certainly had a passion, but if he had to, and he said it before, if he had to return to carpentry, if Star Wars didn't work out, he would have done so with his head held high and would have moved on. But he's just, he's a very, I've said before that he's the funniest cool guy ever because he does walk into a room and the air comes out of the room because he's such a god, but he's there probably to get little weenie dogs from the hors d'oeuvre table. He's not there for the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting thing. And I am curious if it is him coming up in the late 70s, 80s, 90s and being that face of Hollywood, the face of a brand new franchise, is essentially the first franchise to ever kind of make it big and to kind of ever exist on the level that it did. And that compared to, like you said, Bethanne, a Timothée Chalamet who is here to be great and wants to be great. Harrison Ford just not that kind of a guy. I still haven't figured out if he should have an Academy Award or not. I gotta be honest with you guys. So there's a couple movies I wanted to watch for this draft that I didn't unfortunately get around to watching. I feel prepared. I don't feel super well prepared. What if Harrison Ford is what if he's just a good actor? Help me see the light here because he is in really good things. He is the only Harrison Ford. But Academy Award, that just, maybe it is what you're talking about, Bethanne. Maybe it's that's not the vibe. And that's not the vibe I get from Harrison Ford. So this question throws me for a loop a little bit where I'm just he doesn't want, why would he want one? I don't know. Yeah. I'm having troubles.
And I want to clarify, there's nothing wrong with the Timothée Chalamet who want to go for greatness. There really is. There's nothing wrong with it. There's two types of actors in my mind. They're the ones who are looking to push themselves to greater boundaries and go for those accolades, which I see nothing wrong with. And then there's where the Harrison Fords rely on, where we were talking about, he was a carpenter and then he was I'll go into carpentry if I need to go back to it and be absolutely fine. I feel that's such a rare niche actor pool that we've seen in Hollywood before. We're oh sure, why not? Fuck it. It's a Tuesday. Let me go see if I can act. And I think those people are so interesting to me. But no, I think I totally hear you as far as for he is, in my view, you were kind of saying, Ethan, do I think he needs one? Yeah, because I see him as an American standard of acting. But on the same token, it's this dude is also in his own field. He's in a completely separate field when it comes to acting, in my view.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that's
because
a
you
good way
could
to
make
put
the
it.
argument. You could make the argument that like, there is one umbrella for the movie star, right? And we talk about that a lot with like, I think from the 2010s and early 2020s, because now, shocking as this may be, we're in the mid 2020s now,
Right.
which I
Ugh.
hate. But
Shut your
there
mouth.
was there was so much
Hate
discourse about, and rightfully so much discourse of like, is the movie star dead? And for a
Right.
while, I think a lot of us were like, yeah, it kind of is. Now, a little bit of an upswing. The movie star is kind of coming back as Timmy rises, as Zendaya rises, the
Sure.
whole cast of Dune, basically. And then,
Yep.
other names like Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona and all these other people. It's coming back, and that's great. But there are these subcategories in the history where it's like, you could make an argument, yeah, Harrison had the 70s and 80s, and then Tom Cruise shows up in the 90s and 2000s,
Right.
but like, they're not the same type. Where like Harrison would not be like, let me go learn all these skills because I have to push myself. Like, Harrison is the guy that's like, I'll give you the greatest action scene you've ever seen by being clumsy, by not being the guy that kicks ass, by not being the guy. Like, 'cause Indiana Jones, who we will discuss, is a character who's an academic first. Han
Right.
Solo is a character who is pretending to be tough and never is. Like, Harrison found the other angle that is much more specific than Cruise or Keanu Reeves or even cheesier guys like Statham. Like, he would never do one of those. Like, there's no reality where it's Harrison playing Ethan Hunt, I don't think, unless Ethan Hunt is goofy, and he's not.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's all very astute observations. I'm on a roll with the office quips here. Ben, give us the list. Give us the list here. Who was he up against that year for Witness?
The winner was William Hurt for Kiss of the Spider Woman. And the other nominees were James Garner for Murphy's Romance, John Voight for Runaway Train, and Jack Nicholson for Prizzy's Honor. All actors that I've heard of, but not all movies that I've heard of. I've not seen any of these others. I've never heard of Prizzy's Honor. No clue.
Never seen it. Never seen it.
So,
never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know. William Hurt's a great actor. He was a great actor. So I'm not trying to take away his Oscar, but Harrison.
And Harrison usurped him in the MCU.
It's kind of interesting.
Very fascinating. Well, yeah, one of those movies from that year, i.e. Witness, has lived on in greatness, I would say. Another year in which the Academy got it wrong. No surprise there. Okay, let's quickly go around, talk about what Harrison Ford means to you. Maybe unveil a little bit of your personal attachments to him, if you like him as an actor or not. Bethanne, I'll toss it to you first. Where are you at on the Harrison Ford scale? Give me a little background so I can hopefully use it to my advantage in the draft.
Oh, yeah, of course. I give it freely. No, I think for Harrison Ford, like for me, I think he's just a really good actor and I can recognize that. Am I, the Aldens of Harrison Ford? I'm not, but I respect people who love him because I do see his tenacity of why people really want to like study him and understand his work and things like that. So for me, he's a good actor. I'll give him like, for me, out of 1 through 10, he's a 7 for me. He's just a really good, really good guy. I don't know him personally, but I'm assuming.
I was going to ask if you had him over for the Academy Awards over the weekend.
English tea.
hanging with the guy Harrison.
That's right.
Alden, I know I mentioned you were the first call on the call sheet here for the Harrison Ford draft. Tell us a little bit about why Harrison Ford's so important to you.
Harrison Ford is, a fixture of my life, like he is for a lot of people. He was one of the first people that I was like conscious of the fact that they would play multiple roles. Where, as a child, you're like, oh, that's this. He's from the same. Okay, all right. So I guess you don't just need to have like one thing, because if you're a child and you're watching The Wizard of Oz and you see Judy Garland, there's a strong chance that you're never going to see her again as a child. Unless you're like, you have a parent that happens to be a cinephile. So Harrison would pop up these from places. And when I look back on it now, I realize that Harrison is in part responsible, particularly through Han Solo, for me being media literate. Because when you're a child, he has the intended effect of like, he's the coolest guy ever. What a badass. But then when you watch Star Wars with like an actual critical eye, you're like, oh, Han is full of shit. Like Han, every single time that Han Solo is able to make a selfish choice, he chooses other people. but he will continue to say that he's in it for himself and only in it for the money. But he's constantly doing other things. So Harrison kind of taught me that you can do one thing, say one thing, and also be doing another. It's always very dynamic that way. And as I've gotten older, there's the real life element of like, I think Harrison, and this has been my obsession since he returned to Star Wars in 2015. From 2015 to now, I think he is like the model for how men should age as an actor and as a human being.
Yeah.
Like this guy could be so prickly, so difficult, or even not even that. He could just be checked out. And what he's doing on Shrinking right now is some of the best acting on television.
Yeah.
Funny, moves you to tears, all these things. The fact that he chose to do a fifth indie, not Spielberg or Lucas or Kathleen Kennedy. Right. He was like, guys, I'm 80 and I want to do 80-year-old indie. I think is really vulnerable in a time when people are so hell bent on like protecting their manhood, protecting their image. Harrison's like, no, here's me shirtless, my back hurts, where are the snacks? Like that bit he did at the SAG Awards with the Shrinking cast of like eating during their whole thing. Like
he's just
great.
Bit. Yeah.
I want to be him. I think that's where I'm at with him. I want to be him.
That's good. Yeah, that sounds fair. Totally attainable and very realistic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm working on
it. Ben, what about you? Where are you at on Harrison Ford?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think I wanted to be on this draft because I like Harrison Ford. I think he's a good actor. I don't know that you have a 60-year career if you're not good at something. Right. But yeah, I kind of first knew of Indiana Jones, but I think I first really knew him as Han Solo, which I've worn my shirt tonight.
Oh, the Solos. We got a little family
Adam
pick.
Driver.
That is
Adam
awesome.
So yeah, I'm here to, see how much Han we can get on this list. I'm curious to talk about that as well, as we will. But yeah, I like Harrison Ford. He's been around maybe as long as I can remember for me as far as movies go. Cause I remember I was probably like 6 or 5 or something like that watching these for the first time. It's just like, oh, okay. Like obviously no clue who this guy is, but interesting to think about like what actors have been in your life the longest, and he's got to be in there.
Yeah. I'm on the same wavelength as that. I remember having the original trilogy on VHS as a kid and just like watching them all the time, and just like Harrison Ford was just like part of my life. I also remember growing up with my dad watching a couple Harrison Ford movies, of which I will not mention currently because of my drafting strategy. So my apologies to the very heartfelt backstory. But it was just like, he was just like kind of the guy, honestly. And I feel like he was always kind of the guy. So while I may not be in line with him having an Academy Award, I do think he is like a very good actor who, without him, I'm not sure Hollywood would have succeeded in the way that it did in the late 70s and 80s. I'm very interested in that trajectory. Without him, I don't think it works. Now, you do mention, Alden, his television kind of presence in Shrinking. He obviously he's making 1923. He's been in TV for a very long time. His entire career essentially has been TV as well. I don't think TV is eligible here, unless we agree outside of that. But I think it's worth noting that he's in good television.
If Shrinking was like over and done and we knew the whole story, then like maybe, but like with TV, there's like, I don't want to draft like an incomplete thing, because I think that's the one TV thing that like I would really feel precious about, because I think it's his best work. But it's like, we don't need to broach into that. There's more than enough to have arguments about without the TV.
In that vein, are we also not able to draft his 2016 Han Solo voice for Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens video game? We're nixing that as well, correct?
If you want to make the argument, I'll listen.
I guess if we're nixing it.
I will go to the cross off number one. We'll go back to the drawing board on that.
I am dying to know how they got him for it. Dying to know, because he does
I love
not
that footage. Yeah.
Oh, hilarious.
Okay, so Harrison Ford, great actor, been in a lot of movies, and we're here to talk about him. It is a collaborative draft. So let me ask you guys this. What's our goal here? What's our goal? We briefly talked off air before we started recording. What is the end goal of this activity, of this adventure here? Is it to rank the 13 best Harrison Ford movies? Are we trying to immortalize a man with whom we might not have one of the biggest and most successful franchises in the world, 2 of them? Like, are we trying to make a Mount Rushmore here? Are we just going for the cool, kooky guy? Like, what are we thinking? What's the vibe of the collaboration?
I'm curious about 2 things. One is there are 3 really good movies that he has pretty small parts in. And I'm just kind of curious if we are wanting to get those on the list, if maybe we can come up with one that represents the 3. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want all 3 on the list, while they may fall under actual like best movies that he's in. But I think the role he's given in these also needs to play a part. And then speaking of roles, like you said, he's part of like 3 franchises, which I think are 11 movies big. And that could make up a lot of our list. So I'm kind of curious.
2 of them, he's in 5 apiece. And that's not including the other one, which is 2. And
so it's 12. Yeah.
Then the Jack Ryans, which I think
Jack Ryan.
3.
Like, I think
it gets out of control.
Yeah, it's a lot. So like we could do this whole list with like 4 franchises, which is crazy. Like what this guy's been in. So I am curious to throw out, like, do we want to put any sort of stipulation? Do we want to do like a 2 film per franchise max?
Can I propose a stipulation in regards to your first point?
Please.
I would just throw out, in the category of things he's in that are very minute, only one of them, to my knowledge, is listed as cameo, and that's Apocalypse Now. So can we shelve Apocalypse Now?
That's
because there's another one. There are a couple others that are probably on AFIs, probably on IMDb, all the lists.
Sure.
But Apocalypse Now is the only one where it's like, that is a cameo. So just we can like not have the stress of it existing.
For sure.
His character name in Apocalypse Now, did you guys know this is Colonel G. Lucas? Which is obviously
funny.
the same year that they are filming Empire Strikes Back, I would assume, because Empire comes out in 1980, the year after.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, so we have agreed here we are shelving Apocalypse Now. We have noted his cameo appearance, not quite big enough to fit this list.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not sure I was ready to make that concession so early, but okay. We shall press forward. Bethanne,
is that going to be your big swerve?
The big number 3. Bethanne, what's your vibe going in here?
So my vibe going in. So first, I want to announce that I binge watched 3 movies in 24 hours.
Nice.
Whoa.
I'm not going to say what the films were because it's part of my strategy, but I wanted to diversify because I think a lot of like my experience with not George Lucas. Now you got me in George Lucas lens. In Harrison Ford is the George Lucas films, right?
Yeah.
The main ones, and then a couple of sprinklings of random stuff here and there. And so just kind of diversifying. Like, I think for me, what I am trying to bring to this draft is looking at his actual performance, not looking at the film itself. Because I think there's a couple films I watched where I was like, he's very good in it, but is the film good? And I would argue, it's meh for me. But I think his acting is superb. So that's the attitude I'm approaching this from. That you'll see me with my hopeful picks, which I am coming from.
So you are going Harrison Ford primary, movie secondary. Okay. Now that's fascinating because I always like to go movie primary and actor secondary. And we shall see how that shakes. I'm not going to not do that just because you said you're going to do something else, but anything's possible.
Sure.
I could.
Great foundation for the team. Great. Awesome.
I'm not going to agree to what you said. It's going to happen to me.
Me and Ethan are on separate terms already.
Okay, we all mentioned that we did watch some movies in preparation for this. Ben, you watched some new movies. Bethanne, you watched some new movies. I watched a couple new movies. Didn't get to as many as I had hoped, unfortunately. Nonetheless, I feel prepared as I could be because, like you guys said, we could fill this whole list with franchise films, and I think that'll be an interesting conversation as we go along that might really require some true collaboration here. And seeing what we want this list to really be at the end of the day. So this is
if I can, this is where I want to find out, like, do we want to come up with any sort of terms for this? Like, there are 5
a Sokovia Accords moment, perhaps.
Yes, like there are 5 indie movies. Do we want all 5 to be able to be on this list, or do we want to limit it to like 2 of the indie movies? Like, we can only have 2 on this list.
I think you should let it fly.
Just let it go. Whatever we want makes it.
I'm with you, Bethanne.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a valid point. I think it's a valid point, especially because it's like I will be evangelizing for certain things, and I will be dispelling myths. I will be fighting film buff truths that everyone has accepted that I don't think that are true. There is we'll get to it, but there is a film where he has been for 40 plus years. People have said, "Oh, that's the one where he kind of checked out," and I completely disagree with it. And so we will see.
Okay.
I think we might have to have that conversation.
Yeah, there are things, but yeah, I think there's enough to the limit conversation. I think there's enough stuff. I'm just glancing at the note card here with all the ones I could remember off the top of my head.
Nice.
There are enough non-franchise ones that I trust our conversation to find balance anyway.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Let's let it ride.
I think this will be interesting to see how it shakes out. I know I said I'm prepared a few times here on the show, and I'm realizing I did not make a locked, privated letterbox list, and I am in fact just looking at a Wikipedia full of Harrison Ford movies. So when it is in fact my turn, I'm not sure how that'll affect anything. I guess unprepared at my core, at the fundamentals here. Well, maybe we do get 5 indie movies. Maybe. I think that'll be part of the fun. Okay, this is a collaborative draft, so whether the strategy is to go for the win, get the movies you want on the board, or work together as a team, there will only be one team standing at the end of this, a collaborative board, essentially ranking 13 Harrison Ford movies. The best, the most important, who's to say, but it'll be 13 Harrison Ford movies. As always with the collaborative drafts, a special shout out to Screen Drafts, a wonderful podcast that has influenced this draft layout. Please go support them and listen to their show as well. Let's explain the picks and the abilities of the draft. Ben, would you do me the pleasure, please?
I would love to. And thank you for not bringing up my Indiana Jones viewing history on this. So we're doing.
Can I ask? Can I ask? Because, like, listeners of the show know we've brought up here in the past. Yeah. I was so gracious and loving enough to gift you the Blu-ray set of Indiana Jones films for Christmas last year or 2 years ago, maybe. It might have been 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I've given you ample time to watch these films. You obviously famously have only ever watched Crystal Skull.
Correct.
Can we get a check?
Still wrapped in plastic. I'll tell you that.
God damn it.
It's not been opened up.
That's so awesome. Literally the only human being on earth that started with Crystal Skull and didn't move on.
Yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm 20% into the indie franchise. So
it's a Harrison Ford draft.
I know.
Ben.
Let's just say it's going to be up to you guys to play whatever indie movies you want to play.
Oh my God. Okay.
So a little strategy going into it, just so you guys know.
This is amazing.
It's a good strategy. Whenever we do another Star Wars draft, I'm going to be like, hey, guess what, guys? Actually never seen the movies. Good luck figuring out the draft.
Just the holiday special. It's all I've seen.
Don't worry. Exactly. A lot of Star Wars fans haven't seen them either.
That's true. That's very true.
They just had them on.
What a stray. Yeah.
All right. We are doing a 13 movie 4-person draft. Drafter A will be getting picks 1, 5, and 9. Drafter B will get picks 2, 6, and 10. Drafter C will get 3, 7, and 11. And Drafter D will get 4, 8, 12, and 13. Obviously, that's the most picks, but they are all kind of weighted down towards the bottom. So those are the picks that you will get depending on which one you choose after we do the wheel of names. There are also some abilities that come here in the collab draft, and those are vetoes. Everybody gets a veto, no matter what position you're in. You have a veto, and drafter A is going to get 2 vetoes because they are kind of going to get like the last pick. While they do get pick number 1, they may have a movie that they want to bump up and make sure it gets there. So drafter A is the only person that will have 2 vetoes. Drafter C will have our one and only veto override, which you can use after a movie has been vetoed. So let's say, and here's the thing is you can't use it on your own pick. You can't use it to save yourself. So if Ethan plays Witness at 13. And I think that's crazy, so I veto it. But Bethanne is like, actually, Witness needs to be at 13. She can override my veto, and the movie will stay at 13, and I lose my veto. I don't get like another one or anything like that. So it's just gone. So those are the abilities. Those are the picks, and I'm kind of I honestly don't have a preference of what spot I'm in, but I'm curious to see what order this goes in.
Yeah. I have a preference. There's a spot that I want. Yeah, for sure.
Should we figure out what that is?
Yeah, I think we should do it. I'm as we near this draft, I'm realizing I'm remarkably underprepared. I am really worried. I'm
really
like nervous.
Trying to like be because look, I've said this before. Every time I come on with you guys, I get stressed in some way because we've only ever done podcasts together that involve some sort of gamesmanship.
Yes,
which tells me exactly the kind of parent that Ethan is. He's gonna lay down Monopoly for his kids one of these days and just ruin everybody.
I kick my kids' asses in Uno. Let me tell you.
Exactly. So it's like
no mercy.
But I'm trying to talk myself down in my head, like Alden, don't worry, you win no matter what. It's Harrison. You can't lose. But there are still things. There are still things.
That is a bad mentality. I would just let you know that you shouldn't go on that, because we're all losers at the end of the day here on the show. Is my guess. I think that's how this will end up playing out. Okay, Ben, you have the wheel of names.
Yeah, can you upload it? I am for some reason not logged in, and it's not letting me share it on here.
Oh yeah, let me add it to our recording that nobody sees because we are an audio only pod. Okay, this is interesting. So we've got full names. Okay, wow. I'm really taken aback by the spinner. Holy cow. Hold on.
I've been gone for a month. I wanted to mix it up.
Let me reassess. I got my full name. Proper noun capitalized. Capital E, capital S. Bethanne, you're all lowercase, just the first name. Alden, all uppercase, just the first name. And Ben, you are listed as and the ampersand sign and me with a period.
Yep.
The fucking Charlie XCX for bad.
This is a new precedent that has been set here on the Movie Draft Podcast. Let's see what happens. This is madness. Spinner madness. And once you are chosen, you get to choose which drafter you would like to be. Oh, it goes with Brat. Okay, Ben will get to choose first. Let's round out the spinning here before we make some choices, and we'll figure out just who's gonna go where. Keep going, keep going, Spinner. Maybe. Keep going. No, so close. It's literally as close as you can get. Of course, as is per usual, the only person to say they want a specific spot does not get that spot. God damn it!
Lucky.
Wow.
Spoken into the universe. What can I say?
Yeah, this is tough.
All right, now I need to look at this.
There he is.
Okay. This will give me some more vamping time to create my letterbox list here of Indiana Jones films during the episode.
Yeah, whether or not I use it, I always like having the override. So I'm going to go with drafter C for myself.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
All right.
I am going to go with drafter D because I do not feel worthy enough, especially after last time I was on here, to be in the position to choose a number one. So I'm going to be the low man at home gladly.
Nice.
Okay.
So I'm taking D.
Wow.
Look,
okay.
There's no other choice that Harrison himself would choose than A.
Yeah.
With the utmost confidence. Harrison would be like, I'm picking A. I want to go home. So
yes.
this is what we're doing. I'm going A.
I like it.
I was so close. I wanted A. I was so close. Okay,
and you know what?
I'll be drafter B. I'll be drafter B. Okay, I'm gonna type everything here into the doc. So I
just didn't really want to kick it off. That was probably my biggest fear, was kicking it off. So I'm very curious to see what Bethanne does here at these bottom picks.
Yep. D was the one that I wanted the least, like for sure, bar none. Okay, so Alden, you are gonna be drafter A. You're gonna get picks 1, 5, and 9 with 2 vetoes. I'm gonna be drafter B. I'm gonna get 2, 6, and 10 with a single veto. Ben, you are drafter C. 3, 7, and 11 with a veto, and then the only veto override of the game. And Bethanne, you're going to be drafter D. You're going to get 4, 8, 12, 13, and a single veto. Okay, Can I just state for the record before we commence this draft officially, I don't like Bethanne in spots 13 and 12. Makes me nervous.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited.
I've been here with you before. I've been here with you before. I know the damage that can be done.
I think everyone is going to be happy with my 13th and 12th pick. Right. I really do, because I've thought about this.
Okay.
I've thought about this. So, ready to kick off?
Let's do it.
Yeah, without any further ado, let's begin the Harrison Ford collaborative draft, in which Bethanne will choose spot number 13 and set the bar for this entire activity.
So, considering there's a lot of franchises on the table, I want to see this on the list because I am someone who is the beginning kind of person, right? The one that got the attention, got the notice. So I would like to start with American Graffiti. Because I think his role in it, though it was small, was very noticeable because he really did bring a lot of character to the little bit of lines that he had. Overall, I think it's a fun movie too. It's just 1950s teenagers riding in cars along Main Street because I guess that's what they did because gas was 12 cents a gallon. So, but I really enjoyed his character as this racer, like cowboy, but his accent changed over the movie from time to time, but yet it was still like, I see what they saw in him then, right? I saw what George Lucas saw in him. And I think that's really cool you see what the producer was seeing and then you saw how it played out in history. So American Graffiti is number 13.
Okay. It seems like a pretty on par, whatever. What's the like a Hall of Fame pick here, like a Mount Rushmore pick of the Harrison
like a
Ford
career. Like let's define the man, like you were talking about the different approaches. Like yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I have no issues with this. I like American Graffiti. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think this is when I was talking earlier about like 3 good movies that he has kind of smaller roles in. Obviously, with Apocalypse Now, this and The Conversation. So I'm happy to see one of these on the list. And I think while I think The Conversation is a better movie, I think American Graffiti is more representative of Harrison Ford and belongs to be on here. So belongs to be on. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is good at 13. This is a super fun movie. So yeah, I like it.
I like
it. So Ben, is that you saying, at least in your view, that a movie like The Conversation is now out of play because we have American Graffiti in its stead?
I'm not saying it's out of play. If anyone wants to play it, tear it up. I'm not going to play it. Like, I think we just needed one of his smaller roles on this list to represent all of them. And I think this is a good pick for that. But like, if someone wants to play The Conversation later, I'm not going to argue that that's like doesn't belong on the list. Like, it's an amazing movie. So yeah.
I have not seen American Graffiti.
This is one of my 24-hour binges. I watched it while driving to a metal show yesterday. I wasn't driving. I was in the passenger seat.
It's one of the films I was really hoping to get to before this, and I did not get to.
American Graffiti would have the adulation of Grease, but Grease you can sing to. But I think they're very comparable in quality as like stories, as characters.
Yeah. Very similar.
The casts in them, and obviously the eras and all that. But yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Pre-Happy Days, Ron Howard.
Yeah.
He literally played the same role.
Yeah.
Maybe a little meaner in this one, but basically the same person.
For sure. And like you said, for the film history of it too, like the producers, like knowing who was there, and it's cool to see like how much becomes it, like the George and Ron Howard relationship that exists to this day, and now Ron's daughter is making Star Wars. Like, it's because of this, like
so cool.
It's really cool to see the ripples.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I have no qualms with this, as it is a film I have not seen. But I do find it important, as you guys said, to kind of represent all facets of Harrison Ford. And I feel like this is a good kind of stand-in for that. So American Graffiti at number 13. Bethanne, you have number 12. So far, you have not disappointed with your one pick.
You're 1 for 1.
Let me see how I can fuck it up with 3 more.
Yeah. You got a ways to go.
Okay. I'm stuck between two of these, but I think I know which one I'm going to go with. So,
well, we can talk it out. We're a collaborative team. You know,
we are.
Let's talk it out.
You know, when I think collaboration, I think Ethan Simi. That's exactly the words that come to mind.
So rude.
Punctuation too.
So rude.
So I think retroactively, oddly enough, when this movie, when it first came out, I saw it 4 or 5 times because I loved it. I got the magic of it that everyone talked about when they saw it in the theaters. And then retroactively, I feel like everyone's turned on it because of how sour the rest of the sequential films went. Which is really annoying to me because I do think this film is good. I think it's great, actually. And I think Harrison Ford is what makes it, is part of the sauce. I don't want to say he's the full sauce, but part of the sauce of why it's really good. And that is Star Wars Force Awakens. I am putting it here. I would personally put it higher, but I'm afraid with all of the franchise options here, it's going to get lost in the shuffle. But I do want to make the case for this because, and Alden, you may know a little bit more about this. I believe like part of the terms to agreeing to this was that they would kill him off so he wouldn't have to come back. Is there truth to that?
So that is it. It's alleged with an asterisk, right? So it's like going into the making of a other Star Wars film. It's Return of the Jedi. Going into Return of the Jedi, he along with Lawrence Kasdan and a couple of the producers like Gary Kurtz were like, it's the last one. Like, we should go out with a bang. We should take out one of the heroes for the drama. And they all wanted to kill Han. And George was like, this is not that. This is happily ever after. Like, we're not doing it. So there was always this known fact that they wanted him to die for the drama because he had served his narrative purpose. So then he dies. And everyone was like, well, that must be the long standing. But there's no actual proof. It's just like probably like, I think there's an understanding of like, this is what he wanted then, and it makes even more sense now. So,
Sure.
And so I bring that up because I think because this is something I've seen with actors who do know that their character's death is coming up, like they can really pour into it more. Like it's just, I think naturally just juices them up in a weird way. But I really do think like you were talking, Alden, about like this old disgruntled 70-year-old at the time, Han Solo, what does that look like? And we got to see what that looks like. And just like the move ball and things like that, like these little quips, these really tasty quips, and how he delivers those lines is really satisfying to me. And when his death actually came around and he was killed by Ben Solo, his son,
God, spoiler alert. Jesus Christ. Bethanne.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or some of us haven't seen this film.
Just there are people on this show with in packaging Indiana Jones box sets. So it's like, you never know.
Let's be careful here.
Let's go back to the books. But anyway, so without wrapping it up here, I think it should be at number 12 before it gets lost in the shuffle, because I do think he delivered a fantastic role here.
Yeah, I think it's a solid choice. It might be lower than I want it, but again, I don't know how many Star Wars movies we're going to end up with on here. And for me, I'd probably play them all a lot higher, but maybe it's better to kind of like spread the love a little bit. So he's great in this. I had a fun time rewatching this for this draft, and I'm happy to see it on here. It's one where if we were only doing a couple Star Wars movies, I was curious if it would make the cut or not. So I'm glad it's here.
Can I raise the question momentarily of, is anybody like pro? Look, I know that we probably all don't necessarily vibe with Rise of Skywalker, but I just for a moment, humor me. Harrison Ford, pretty good in that movie, pretty incremental to Ben's narrative arc that happens there. Is this a one or the other situation for us here on the board?
First of all, yes. In my mind, it is a one or the other. Okay. But I say that as a Rise of Skywalker defender. Like, I am extremely pro Rise of Skywalker. And I think, and to the shock of some of your viewers, extremely pro Last Jedi as well, because I can walk and chew bubblegum. And I think that because there's this conspiracy of they made this movie that no, they didn't. That is just not true. you don't make movies to, yeah, they had the Last Jedi script when Force Awakens was still in principle. They knew what they were like. Yes, there's a lot of shit that was not thought out, but like as Adam Driver will tell you, the Ben arc, start to finish,
was done.
He knew, and I think to give Rise of Skywalker a flower, because I know it's not going to make this list. I will say, for a scene that is so clearly because Carrie was gone, because I think it was obvious that 7 was Han, 8 was Luke, and 9 was Leia, and then Carrie Fisher is dead. They do what they can with her outtakes and all her stuff. But then it's like, it was so obvious that his mom was going to be the thing that pushed him to light. And I think that Harrison is a class act for coming in and, you know, serving the role, serving the theme that would have been, because all his lines are like, your mother, you know, what she stood for, what she fought for.
Yeah.
Like,
all about
it's very much like giving her the you know, the tribute. So great scene. Adam Driver and Harrison have awesome chemistry. Good father-son casting. And that applies to this movie as well, to Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I think that 12 is fine for it because of everything else, which I think is sort of like what we're in agreement about. Like, Star Wars is one of those things where I look at my ranking and it's like, even my 12th I love. And so it's like, if it has to be 12 here, like Force Awakens in my actual Star Wars ranking is 8. And I love Force Awakens. So it's just like, it just happens that way. So, and this is his best Han performance.
Yeah. I just wanted
just
to
thinking of the best interest of the pod. What can I say?
And the world.
Trying to be
And the
in the world. Don't sell yourself short.
Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it.
Okay. The Force Awakens. Star Wars The Force Awakens at number 12. I've only got a single veto. I don't find it worthwhile to spend it here. We are 2 picks into this. We have 11 to go. Nobody's used an ability. I find fascinating. Ben, I will just say, most notably, veto override, pretty tough to use, pretty hard. Even
Especially
on the Miyazaki pod, I think it went I think it went unused.
Yeah. It's more like I like the safety of knowing that nobody can use it on me if I veto something.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so your kneecap.
If I have it, exactly.
If you've got it,
Ben is probably a devious, like what's that game, Catan, or like any game with like resources and a map and everything.
Oh yeah,
He's
Exactly.
got all the week, man. All the week.
Okay.
All right. Is it me at 11?
It is you at 11.
Okay, I'm gonna nominate a movie. I'm curious if any of you guys have seen this. This was a first time watch for me in prep for this draft. I thought Harrison was just like amazing in it. It's a film called Presumed Innocent. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it.
Okay.
Apple TV recently did a series with Jake Gyllenhaal last year. They turned it into a TV show. So is based off of this movie, which I believe is based off a book, but Harrison Ford was in this film, which I think came out, I want to say like 1990.
1990.
Made $86 million in 1990, which is like pretty solid for like a drama, you know? But Harrison Ford plays a lawyer whose colleague gets murdered and he gets put on the case to find the killer. But we find out that he's a little bit more connected to her than maybe he should have been. So there's a lot of, I don't want to give too much away of what the story is, because I think like it's a huge part of the story in watching it. But he gives a great performance, you know, as the lawyer, as kind of the intelligent guy. This is like, it's not an action film by any means. You know, it's not Clear and Present Danger. It's not Indiana Jones. It's not any of that stuff. I think it's more of a reserved role. But in that sense, I really liked what he was giving, because he has to fall back on himself and his like facial expressions and just like his acting, like his just down to earth acting. And I thought he was wonderful. This is one of those movies, again, on the rewatch, where like, oh yeah, he doesn't have to be an action star. This is where I was like, I could see him winning an Oscar, or at least like getting that kind of recognition, because there doesn't need to be an explosion or a gun or whatever in his movie for him to be like useful or like efficient or whatever. Like he can just be in a straight up drama and carry it. And I think he did a beautiful job here. Great cast. Raul Julia's in it. Fun to see him not as Gomez Adams. You know, he's he's got some crazy hair in this, but yeah,
or
I recommend Presume. Yeah, exactly. I recommend both. Like the Apple series is really good with Jake Gyllenhaal. Obviously, they were able to like, I think they made like 6 or 8 episode, so it's like a much longer and more in-depth telling of this story. But it's interesting to see the differences they did between the movie and the TV series. But I recommend both. If you got a lot of time, watch the series. If you got like 2 hours, watch the movie. But Presumed Innocent is what I would like to play here at 11.
I think it'd be really cool if we just let you go on that podium, and then just someone was just like, "No, we're gonna veto that. Let's move on."
That'd be hilarious. I love it.
I never saw it, but I don't like how much you like it.
You didn't convince me.
I don't like your turn of phrase. Yeah, look, this is again one of the movies that I was hoping to get to. I've been trying to watch the TV show for a very long time, have not gotten to it. I've got no gripe with this because I wanted to get to it and watch it, and I'm sure that I would have liked it. So Presumed Innocent at 11 is fine with me. It does raise a contentious strategical kind of paradox that we're going forward here, at least in my eyes, because we're going to have 10 spots left and we have a lot of movies, and the vetoes are out there. So anyway, I have no problems with Presumed Innocent. Anybody have anything to say regarding this film here? Okay.
I have not seen it, but I love all the reasoning. There are a couple that I would have said some of the same things about his dramatic talent, and there are some. He's got some underrated features, and I'm excited to finally see this one. I think 11's a good spot. Like you said, it does kind of add some stress for later, but we'll see how it goes.
I think it's also a little diversity for the list. Like, I know we already have American Graffiti on here, but I feel like from here on out, we're going to have a lot of explosions and running and, all that kind of stuff. So I like having a little bit of just straight up drama. I think it would be good to have it on here.
Sure.
Okay.
No, I'm with you.
Okay. So we move forward into the 10 spot, which is me. Can we just like use this moment to maybe hash out a little collaborative thought process?
I'm not
because you're not helping.
I'm here, Ethan.
Listen to me, okay? We have this is what we've talked about, but I think we need to get a little bit more nitty-gritty here because I'm getting a little bit worried. We have 5 Indiana Jones films.
Yes.
We've deemed Rise of Skywalker off the list. So we have
that was just me. That was just me. That was just me saying I would choose between TFA and Rise of Skywalker.
I have no problem with that. I agree. I just wanted to give that moment its flowers. I think it is worthwhile to say Harrison Ford, congratulations in that film.
But to your point, like 5 indies, and that's so Force Awakens, that we still have 4 Star Wars that he's in.
Correct. So we have 5 indies. We have 4 Star Wars movies. That would be 9 films. We have 2 Blade Runner films. That would be 11 movies.
Yeah.
And we have such things as Working Girl, Witness, Air Force One, The Conversation,
Sabrina.
if you want to put that out there. Like, we have things. Mosquito Coast. Like, movies are out there. We are inundated
Anchorman
with film
2,
choices here.
as I said.
Life of Pets 2, right. Borat.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit nervous here, and I kind of want to test the board a little bit to see maybe what people are vibing with.
Okay.
Because I worry that the few things that I need to have high up the board are just the vetoes being out there make me really nervous. Because if we get to a certain point in time and it's vetoed, there is no other say, right? It is gone from the board entirely. So I find myself in a predicament here. I'm going to go with a movie that, what do I go with? Yeah, we'll go. Okay. This is a movie that I watched for the very first time in preparation for this draft. I own the Blu-ray. Shout out Physical Media. Watch this film. I'm going to put forth Air Force One at number 10. True Harrison Ford performance. Get Off My Plane. Great stuff all the way around. A classic, they don't make them like they used to kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should make more thrillers set on planes. The silence is scaring me, but I like Air Force One here.
I like it too.
So,
this is my favorite of the Die Hard but blank variants. Like if Speed is Die Hard on a bus, this is Die Hard on the plane.
On a plane, of course.
And with politics, so it's like, of the like, we don't make them. Like, this is solid. It's not in my. If it was Alden's top 13, Harrison, it probably wouldn't make it, but that's extremely weighted in certain directions. So I'm fine with it.
So I see it as, well, number one, it's no snakes on a plane, but it's fine. But
Can't all be that good.
but
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but here's the thing. I'm very pro putting movies that aren't franchise on this list because I think it's going to put us to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like once we get to number probably
I'm not
6
familiar with
here,
that term. What does that mean, Bethanne?
separate the wheat from the chaff?
Yeah, is that like
Good stuff
is that
from
a
the bad
farm
stuff.
thing?
Yeah.
It's like, so here's when I heard this term. We saw Avengers for the first time, and all the people got up before the end credit scene. So my friend said we're separating the wheat from the chaff.
Oh, okay.
So I've said it since then.
Wow.
I don't really actually know what it means, to be honest with you. It's just a phrase.
It's an Avengers thing. Yeah, it's an Avengers thing. Okay.
Yeah, or 2012
No,
rather.
I like your idea. I like your idea. Less
I think it's
franchise
smart.
movies. Okay. Huh. Tide shifting a little bit here. We're all good with this. Air Force One at number 10.
Yeah, if you can have Gary
okay
Oldman
with
as a bad guy on your list, like you got to do it. So I think for people of a certain age, this is non-franchise Harrison. Like this is
for sure.
What they know him for or whatever. So I think it needs to be on the list. May not be the best movie, but it belongs here.
Guys, can I pitch you guys something for later in your run? No, not for this show. Just for later in movie draft podcast history. Film presidents.
Dude.
Listen, it was on the calendar for an election episode. The Big Picture specifically beat us to it and released their episode first, and we felt like we would be a lesser good copying a god tier good. And I
do it for the midterms.
Have that.
Do it for the midterms.
Yeah, we'll do it. There we go.
Talking about movie VPs, like Glenn Close. You know what I mean? Like she's killing it in this. So yeah, it's good.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I just Air Force One. I do want to give a shout out to my guy William H. Macy. He's showing up in movies and he's getting shot, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
yeah, he is.
Okay, awesome. Air Force One. I'm not sure if that pick makes me feel more comfortable about moving forward or less because I was expecting a little bit of pushback. So I'm unsure of how I feel. Alden, welcome to the game. You have number 9.
Yeah, I do, and I'm a little overwhelmed because of just the logistics and the amount of stuff. I am going to do surgery on this list in real time while I talk and delay my pick. I am not what you are seeing, or you're not seeing. You three are seeing. Listeners will hear. You hear that little scratchy scratch, that little scratch. That's me removing 2 Indiana Jones films that
it's like his own bingo card.
I do not personally need. What'd you say?
It's like your own bingo card.
It is. It is like bingo. Yeah.
An in-home bingo.
I'm making it a little easier. Scratch off Air Force. Great. I am going to play the I need to see these on here game.
And a little early for that, no? At number 9.
Yeah, but like I have 3 picks and like things are getting silly. Not that the picks have been silly.
Nobody's used a veto yet, which I feel uncomfortable about.
I am going to say that I need to see, because I'm looking at look, let's be realistic about like just the scope that we're dealing with here. We don't just have because we keep saying like great franchise, like whatever. And that's true. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4 films on here that could be regarded as some of the greatest motion pictures ever made.
Yep.
And I would argue 5, 6. I would say 6 that could be there. And so I'm going to say at 9, even though this pains me to have it low. And if someone wants to be like, no, it has to be higher, great.
What are we doing here? What is it going to be?
I'm going to do 2049. Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, this is low. Wow. This is low.
Wow.
Low.
Now, I know it's low. But this is also this is when it comes into I love this man and some of these other movies. And I love 2049. 2049, you should have gotten a supporting actor nomination. This is some of the work of his career. The fact that Denis feels like he at all fell short is incredibly. It speaks to how humble he is, because I think he made a better film than Blade Runner, which we can talk about, as we get there.
I agree. That was going to be my next question: is where we fall on the 2049 versus original scale there.
And then everybody will respond and tweet you guys like, "But which cut of Blade?" All of them. All the cuts. Any cut. Pick whatever cut you want. I think 2049 is better. But here's the thing is that let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say Blade Runner 2049 goes in here. And then above this is Blade Runner. I'm okay with that. But I think this is one of the greatest sequels ever made. I think, and arguably, you could just watch it if you wanted to. I don't encourage that at all, but you could. I think Gosling and Harrison are amazing together. I think it's gorgeous. It's stunning. I'm okay with it being higher. I totally am. But I also am looking at some of these other films, and I'm like, oof, like,
okay,
it's gonna get heavy.
Ben has not moved physical positions from a thinking man's sit.
He really did go nonverbal for a minute.
So and I want to make a trade offer.
Yeah, I was coming to the table for the same idea. Same thing.
Offer a trade.
I'm ready.
Because I was thinking 2049 or Blade Runner for my one, and I was stuck. I think 2049 is better than Blade Runner, but I do think Blade Runner needs to be on the list.
OG Blade Runner.
OG Blade Runner director's cut. If we have to specify, but
if we have to specify, I'd go
final. I'm not.
They should all be separate.
The final director's cut. Correct. I want 3 hours of Harrison Ford. Just that's all I want.
Walking.
Okay.
Thinking.
Yeah, just walk in and just thinking. So I want to offer a trade. I think they should swap. I think Blade Runner should go on your pick, and I put 2049 on number 8 because I do think both belong on there, but I'm getting scared with all the Star Wars and all the Indiana Jones coming up.
I am too. I am also scared. Look, I'm okay with that. The difference between 8 and 9 to me in a Harrison Ford realm is like, choosing between, like, we're talking about like choosing pizza. Like, it's just like, I love it. Like, it's like, whatever. I was gonna say some inappropriate things, and then I was like, "What's the okay joke to make for this audience?" Pizza's fine. So it's
no, we are X-rated here on this show. Ben pods and no pants every episode. I don't know if people know that or not.
He's straight Winnie the Pooh in that shit over there.
Ben, I'm kind of getting the idea that you want this substantially higher. Is that our struggle here?
No. Here's the fun fact: I haven't seen this.
Whoa! Wow!
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna like go to bat. Like we got to have it in top 3.
Yeah, you were looking like really religious over there for a second.
Well, it just threw me off because I was getting ready to play Blade Runner at 7. I was like, I think these guys might tear me apart because if I play this too low. And so then when you threw this at 9, I was like, wait. All right, maybe I don't have any idea what they think of Blade Runner or any of these movies. So I was just processing. I still haven't seen this, so I can't comment on it. I won't veto it because that doesn't seem right. So I'll let you guys decide if anyone wants to veto it to move it up higher. But
the offer on the table is let's place Blade Runner at 9 and then place let's place 2049 at 9 and
at 8.
Or at 8 and
you would take Blade Runner
at
9.
Yeah,
I would take 2049 at 8. Because I
just
just
think burn a veto for a
I will impose
trade?
that you will burn a veto. This is not a free trade here. You must abide by the laws of the land.
Who's veto?
I mean, it's between you and Alden to decide. I guess.
It would be. I guess you vetoing my. But I also have 2 vetoes. Maybe, but then I can't impact my own selection on it with a veto.
No, you can self veto. You just can't use the override on yourself. You can't save yourself. Yeah. But you could self veto if you wanted.
You can self veto?
Yeah, for sure. Why not? If people change your mind on your pick, why not?
What?
Not 30 seconds ago said you must respect the laws of the land.
We're 61 episodes into this podcast, and you are just now telling me that I can self-veto. I can nominate a film.
You couldn't. Yeah.
I can nominate a film and say, oops, my bad. I don't want that on there. Let me self-veto. I can do that?
Fight.
Yeah.
This isn't our fight.
100%. I feel like you should have done it multiple times over the history of this show.
This is the problem. This is the issue. Is that I know so many moments that have happened where I should have self-vetoed.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Now we know.
Oh wow. Well,
crazy.
You live and learn.
I'll clarify from here on out. Yeah.
I feel strongly that 2049 is substantially better than Blade Runner. I recognize that on this list that may not be the case. I don't feel strong enough to have a veto here. I'm very worried about going forward and a very specific film that I must have on this list. So I have to reserve myself.
Here's where I stand then in regards to that and to the proposed trade. I don't care enough about the 8 or 9 positioning either way, because there's the importance for film history and for the man versus the this is better, it looks better, Denis. Like I can whatever 8 and 9. I don't want to blow my veto on it, but I welcome you to if you want to do this. If you really feel passionate.
Oh, you're willing.
I'm willing because I really do think 2049 is a masterpiece, and I'm really afraid. I mean, I would love to see it higher. I absolutely would. I just think once we get into like past 5, like I'm literally terrified it's not going, like we're going to forget about it.
God.
And I am very passionate about like the cinematography, the directing, the acting, the script. Denis Villeneuve. I am passionate about those subjects because I truly think it's a masterpiece. Like it's a masterpiece through and through. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm willing to sacrifice my veto just to put it at a higher place.
So
that we don't lose it, even though
Blade Runner at 9 in parentheses, the final cut. And then you show up immediately at 8, 2049.
Well, here's what would be really interesting. You could play it later in the game, Bethanne. You do not have to play it at 8.
I know that, but like, here's the thing. I feel like I have to do something in 4 because then I'm gonna get yelled at if I don't. So like, you know,
so we
I'm
have
doing the betterment of the world.
Okay, so we have Blade Runner, the final cut at slot number 9, chosen by Alden, and then we have Blade Runner 2049 in slot number 8, chosen by Bethanne. This is correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very down with it.
Wow, that was interesting. That is very interesting.
This, like, we got to 7 so quick. I was not ready for this.
So fast, guys. It's a whirlwind here.
This has been a whirlwind.
We're an hour and 12 minutes into the pod. We're about halfway through this draft, and we're like, holy shit, we got to slow down. Like, too fast.
I'm curious, Alden, if this is the movie you're talking about earlier, because I enjoy Blade Runner, the film. I don't know that Harrison Ford is the only person that could have played that role. Like,
that's not what I was talking about.
Okay, I think like it's a movie much more about like the production and the setting and like the world it creates, and I'm less into like Harrison Ford is Deckard. He has to do it. It's like, I don't know. It could be other people too. You know, like this is really just more about like the world they're in my opinion. That's why I was going to play it lower. So like, I'm stoked to see it at 9. Again, I have no opinion on 2049. I'm excited to watch it. I think it's only Villeneuve that I haven't watched yet, but for some reason I'm just like waiting for the right moment. So maybe that'll be later tonight. Who knows? But
I am also on the like it's a masterpiece train, like to the point where I love it so much that it is hard for me to come out and be like Dune Part 2 is the best film. Like I maybe feel that, but 2049 is that good.
Cool.
I agree with it. I agree with 100%.
And you're playing it at 8. Not at 4.
Yeah, that's fascinating, guys. Very interesting.
Blown away.
There's a lot of franchises coming up.
A lot of masterpieces coming up. I mean, you guys are on the masterpiece train. You're like bottom half, you know.
Listen, hey, I mean, why didn't Harrison Ford get an Academy? You know.
Yeah. All right.
People don't agree with art.
People don't agree with art. That's a good bit. Yeah. All right, Ben, you're at 7.
Yeah.
1 veto has been used. This is why I really don't like the boards that have more movies than available slots, because there's no way to predict where the board goes. You know, like if we only had 13 movies to choose from, you can get a poll. You can play the board to have a particular outcome. You can't do that here.
I think to Alden's point too, it's hard because, you know, for the most part, we just have 3 picks, and it's like, do I play the one that I feel needs to be on here right now?
Yep.
Or do I play what I actually think is like the 7th best and then try to play what I think is one of his best at number 3? But if I get vetoed, then I'm fucked, you know?
I'm in the exact same boat. We could get burnt in the top spots. And if I wait until that top spot to play the movie that I want to play, it's just not going to make the board? No, come on.
Yeah.
That can't happen. What are you thinking, Ben? Where are you going here? Are you going to burst the franchise bubble?
I thought I would just do everything without playing a franchise at all, but I don't think I can do that.
Guy. Okay.
Yeah. He's in those? Is that right? Okay. Yeah, I feel like there's a couple, I don't know, man. I want to represent the other franchise that maybe we may not get to see, so I'm going to do Clear and Present Danger here at number 7. His second turn as Jack Ryan after Patriot Games.
Oh no, we can't. No, Ben, we only have 7 slots, dude.
Who wants to veto?
That's my thought too.
We can't do this. You can't blow a spot.
I have 2 vetoes, so I'll use one.
If you could, okay.
And I
appreciate that.
No ill will toward this film, toward Jack Ryan, toward Jack Ryan's fans, toward Ben, toward Ben's fans. It has no like any of these groups. It's just the magnitude of what we are facing.
Yeah,
as we go on. Yeah. What else?
It can't happen. It can't. We've got more important movies to play. Sorry, Ben.
But I liked it. But I like where your head's at. I love the choice. I just if this was a 15 selection draft or a 16 selection, like whatever. But this 13 is just it's a lot.
I'm in a similar headspace thinking about non-franchise films, Ben. So I'm with you on some level here. Do you have any interest in like talking about putting a franchise movie here that we can all agree on?
You know what? Fuck yeah. I'm not doing any franchise shit. It feels crazy to play like his one Oscar nom at 7, but I'm going to go with Witness here at 7.
Okay.
I wanted to play it at 3, but I was afraid it'd get vetoed, and I just needed to be on the list.
No,
okay.
I like this more.
I can get on board with this. Yeah, I can get on board with this.
This is a little actiony. Man, this movie's fucking so good. Like, is it Lucas Haas that plays the kid? Like, he's great in it. Harrison Ford is just amazing. Obviously, I mean, it's a dumb thing to say. He was nominated for an Oscar for this performance. But yeah, balloons for the Oscar nomination, Ethan.
What just happened? What just happened with my video, guys? Balloons just happened. I know. I'm literally looking at the Witness letterbox on a different screen, and then balloons popped up on this screen. What's going on?
That's amazing.
We got to turn into a video pod.
Clip that one thing. Yeah.
This is good. This is a good pick. I respect this.
Peter Weir directed. Kelly McGillis is fantastic in this. Danny Glover is so good. And just like there's just so much cool shit on here. The scene of Lucas Haas in the police department, like whatever, as he's just like strolling around as this little Amish kid who's like now in the city and experiencing all this stuff for the first time. He gives a great performance, and Harrison Ford having to switch from this like tough cop. I mean, he's always the tough cop. Then he gets into the Amish lifestyle and kind of like becomes one of them, willingly, like does, sacrifice thing, like giving up his gun or whatever, just to like respect the way they want to live. I think he gives a brilliant performance here. Such a fun, like not high energy movie, but like there are moments for sure in here. And I just needed to be on the list. On my personal list, this is top 3, but it's just got to be here. So I'm happy with it at 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you guys seen it?
I respect that entirely. Yeah.
Love Witness.
Witness is great.
Good movie. Yeah. Very good movie. Okay. Much in the same vein, right. I'm worried that if I play my true number 2, that it just won't make the list. So let me come forward to you guys and see what happens. I guess I'm attending the Ben school of thought on this. It's not where I want it to be, but I need it on the board. I'm going to play The Fugitive at number 6. Now, this to me is a 5-star masterpiece. It doesn't get better than this. I understand the crossroads that we have arisen at with 6 slots and a lot of franchise movies to go. Give me this one win, guys. Give me one. Give me what I give.
We've only put one franchise movie. I don't consider Blade Runners franchises. We've only put.
It's a franchise.
I do.
It's only 2 films.
It's got the
animated
Amazon
series
show with Michelle Yeoh coming up this year.
Never mind. I take that back.
Yeah. It has at
It's
least
got. I mean, it's got IP. It's got
anime.
I believe it has some
Yeah.
comic books.
Okay, I
so,
take that
2
back.
animes, some comics. Yeah.
But
And it's based on a
regardless-
novel that is
I
like
mean,
a sci-fi thing.
What?
So it's like-
But what is wrong? At the end of the day, what is wrong if we only put 3 or 4 franchise
No,
movies on here, right? Like what? Like,
nothing's wrong, 'cause, like,
that is
look,
what we have
look.
arrived at.
And also, it's like when we went back to the you know, what feel in my heart, what feels like years ago when we started this, because I've been under so much stress just thinking about things not making it. Like we did muse about the idea of the 2 per series and like everything.
We did.
Like maybe we arrived at it organically. Like maybe we just did.
Mhm.
The thing is that like when you say something like The Fugitive, it's like I cannot, as somebody who loves this man's work, ever argue against movies like Witness and The Fugitive and a couple other things, some of which won't make this.
Yeah.
And I will just say now, because I'm sure we'll do honorable mentions at the end, but like I don't think Regarding Henry is making this list, which is a great.
I think
film.
we've passed the time for Working Girl, unfortunately.
And Sabrina. And and honestly, a couple like I think 2020's The Call of the Wild is pretty good. They dumped it on Plus because of COVID, but it's really good. Yeah, we're at that point, and Fugitive is such a badass movie, and honestly, and then John Mulaney has that whole bit about Fugitive, which I think introduced people to it.
So good.
Which is excellent. It's a great movie. I can't fight it, although I'm in pain now.
I know it's maybe not necessarily for the good of the board, but it's for the good.
But
of
we're
me.
coming. But look, here's the positive spin. I'm looking at this list and I'm smiling because it's already like really flavorful. Like it's got, and we are
That's
actually kind of doing the picture of the man. Like that is becoming the thing.
We didn't go down the temptation road of all right, let's put all the franchises in his best work.
Right.
You know, we really did choose smartly here.
Not
because
today.
it's like, look, if we wanted to rank Star Wars, we could rank Star Wars, and y'all already did that. And I'm gonna reserve
and it ended
my comments.
poorly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna reserve my comments about how you did
it. Okay, Ben, any thoughts on this? I know you have The Fugitive quite highly rated on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm gonna veto this.
Whoa!
What? Okay, can you at least can you give me some clarity here? Give me clarity. Are you doing this because you don't want it on the board? Or are you doing this because you want it higher on the board?
We will see.
What a menace!
We will see.
Okay.
Never mind.
I'm like almost moved to tears right now. I'm like almost. I think I broke. I think you just broke me.
I was really hoping you type it in so you could like erase it.
I know, and that's why I didn't type it in. Is because every time that I type it on the doc, someone vetoes it, and so I was gonna wait, and that's why I asked a clarifying question. Hey, are we done? Okay.
That was a crazy moment in time.
Fuck. That happened. Okay. I'm a little shook. Okay, what do we do? Wow, where do we go? The Fugitive is vetoed. I have plainly laid out my thoughts on The Fugitive, so I guess we'll see if we come back to that or not. I think we've got to do... How mad would you guys be if I just put up Cowboys and Aliens right now?
Pretty cool.
Mad? No. Perplexed? A little.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
But I would not veto because it would crack me up if that made the list.
Yeah,
it'd be sick. It'd be an awesome graphic, yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get collaborative for a second. What do we want to do? We want to go Indiana Jones? Do we want to go Star Wars? Because it's got to be one of the two. We've got to burst the franchise bubble here.
Look.
I will say, like, it kind of seems like Bethanne and I aren't going to play any franchise stuff. So, I mean, I don't want to speak for her. Maybe she will, but I'm not going to. So, yeah.
Okay.
So don't rely on me, obviously, for indie. Yeah.
Right. So that takes one slot off the board. Really, Alden, it's you and I. We have 2 picks left. Bethanne and Ben only have 1 each.
Yeah.
So,
and I have 1 indie and 1 Star Wars that I feel militantly about.
Okay.
Like, and so I'm basically ready. It's just deciding in my soul if the one that I love more is worth the gamble and the potential rage.
Okay. I'm trying to look at my letterbox here.
I cannot believe that just happened. It's so wild.
I'm really stuck. I really got messed with.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Ethan got shot and like the blood splattered on me. Like, I just,
also like me and you, Alden, were so supportive of this. Like, we were,
Yeah,
like,
you guys
championing
were.
him on.
we were just like,
peace.
yeah, The Fugitive. Let's keep going.
That sounds great.
Like,
Yeah, it's flavorful. That's
Let it
smart
go,
choice.
yeah.
Not gonna play any. So that's like 4 slots for franchises. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Damn.
Okay. How are we feeling about putting? Kind of feels sacrilegious, but I'm lower on it than most. How are we feeling about putting Raiders here? Is that your indie movie, Alden?
No.
Okay.
That's not mine. But Raiders is Raiders, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
that's the one, you know. Like it's
Yeah.
it's not my number one indie, but I get it.
I have a personal indie pick that I want higher up the board, so I'm trying to like
Me
kind
too.
of make a concession with that. Do you want to potentially reveal what that might be?
So I am
We could strike gold here with
firm
collaboration.
in my stance that Last Crusade should be the top indie.
Okay, we have arrived at friendship. This is great. Okay.
Woo! Yeah.
I think Raiders should go here. What are we
At
thinking?
6.
At 6, yeah.
That's
fine.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Ben, are you going to veto this one too? Okay. Raiders at 6. That happened. Wow. Oh my gosh. We've reached the top 5.
Did I used my first veto, right?
You
Yeah,
did.
so
I used that.
You have a veto. I have a veto. Ben's got a veto override.
As an override. Okay. So Raiders. Hey, hot take about Raiders. Really good movie. You know,
Wow, startling.
We didn't give it.
Yeah,
its
we didn't
little,
really talk
like,
about Raiders.
We didn't really give it its little.
Yeah.
If you're listening,
What is there to say? It's Raiders. Yeah.
I know. Ben might not know this, but Raiders is a lost art.
Really good
solid
film.
motion picture. Man. And as many people have said, it's not an original thought. Every film Instagram account will point this out.
Yeah.
Maybe the best blocked movie ever.
Mhm.
Like when you just look at like what can happen without a cut, and a lot of that is about Harrison being a physical comedy guy. And it's an amazing movie. Always punch Nazis. Good stuff.
Looks phenomenal in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, he's just the handsomest. He's just, and Karen Allen. Yeah. Karen Allen as Marion, like so much good. Credit, and rightfully so, goes to Princess Leia for like revolutionizing, females in genre, and like not being damsels, but like that is also Marion, like Marion with the out drinking everybody in her bar and just being arguably like more like academically intelligent than Jones he's great. Yeah,
I think we should do a collaborative draft of monkeys in movies. That could be fun.
Yeah. No lie.
This and nope. Okay, Alden, you have 5.
Okay, so since we've already like gotten into the topic, like, is this too low for Crusade, Ethan? What do you think? Because I have 2 minds about this 5 choice.
Okay, I'm not I guess I'm not opposed. It would, in theory, mean that 2 indie movies are played at 5 and 6, which like, I don't know. It's Harrison Ford. It's Indiana Jones. It makes me a little nervous.
No, I mean,
but I don't know, Bethanne, where are you? Because Ben's not playing an IP film. Are you pro? Like, are you pro Star Wars indie here, or what are we looking to play it for?
So, I mean, I am gonna play a Star Wars or an indie. I am okay. Here's my thing. Here's my hot take, and I'm regretting saying this. I know
I haven't even said it yet.
Backlash. I just know it. I am pro not seeing Temple of Doom on this list because
seeing no Temple of Doom,
no Temple of Doom because that movie bothers me so much that he changed the tone like that. I don't know if he's going through a divorce, what the motherfucker was doing.
Yes,
but
was
he? Okay, then it all makes sense.
Not a bit. He gets divorced George gets divorced during the making of Jedi. Then they move into Temple and Steven, and basically what he gave Steven was like, we're gonna go dark. And technically this is the prequel to Raiders. it takes place
maybe
before,
that's what I was
so
sensing,
it's like
and
maybe
I
they
knew
wanted
that.
him to be more hardened before. I don't know, but
Because
Mhm.
you cannot
Yeah.
flip a character like that. I'm sorry, you
Temple is
cannot
my
flip from
fifth
Raiders.
and bottom indie.
Okay.
I
So,
can't stand
yeah.
Temple of Doom.
We're
So
aligned.
as long as, I mean, now the guy's heart getting ripped out. Another spoiler. Oh, now it makes sense.
Although
But,
Ki Kwan innocent.
Yeah.
Ki
Of
Kwan
course.
innocent. This
I agree
short
with that.
round is one of the most incredible sidekicks ever. Just so happens that it's in my fifth pick.
So as
for
long
indie.
as Temple of Doom doesn't make it,
Yeah.
happy.
I think let Last Crusade fly. Let's push it up.
Here's my other thing. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I came into this with one agenda, and that is to get Return of the Jedi as high as possible on this list.
Okay.
I am willing to not have Empire on this list to have Return of the Jedi. That's how serious I am.
Oh,
Return of the
wow.
Jedi is not just my favorite Star Wars film, it's my favorite film. If Flynn walked up to me on a red carpet with the microphone and was like, "For faves, Return of the Jedi is the first thing that would come out of my mouth." So it's like I'm afraid with 4 slots after this of Jedi not getting on.
Okay.
So really, I'm in Jedi preservation mode right now. And so that's why I'm okay with Crusade being here, but I'm also understanding of like I could put Jedi here for safety reasons, and then we can get Crusade higher, which I'm also down with.
Look, I mean, you've got the number 1 pick. I say, in your best interest, play Crusade here. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, guys.
But it's a risk. It's a risk. I don't know.
And look, I say that with the full knowledge that like we have New Hope and Empire, and like I joke about like sacrificing both of them, but like it's not gonna happen. We know that we're in a gold mine right now. There's no losers. So yeah, let's do. I'm okay. Crusade at 5.
Okay. I think the best Indiana Jones movie for sure. I find it fascinating that we have reached the top 4 and we have still, of course, inevitably will play Brave New World. So I'm a little bit worried if that's like 3, 2, 1. I'm not sure where we're going to land on that. Ben, it's really up to you. I guess you're non-franchise though.
Yeah,
of course.
Boy, wow. Things really escalated quite quickly here. I was thinking about playing the conversation at some point. Ben, you lured me away from that. I just want to put it out there into the world. I think it's a deserving role on this list, but we are way too past that right now.
Well,
okay, Bethanne.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, wow.
I mean, this is really, do I do the betterment of the list or do I do the betterment of me? Like, because I like this film. And that's just where I leave it. And I feel like that's what these picks are for, is I like it. So it's my last pick and it's going there. So I'm going to say Empire Strikes Back. Because I think this is just quintessential.
Perfectly fine.
I think this is just quintessential Han Solo, Harrison Ford, where I fell in love with him. I just fell in love with this character at this point. I liked him in New Hope. Great. But this is Han Solo driving.
Yeah.
That's what this film is. And would I ideally like to see it higher? Sure. But I feel like I'm going to get beaten out from that. And this is my last one. So that's where I'm putting it.
Ben, have you seen this? Have you seen this film?
What is it?
I'm just
well,
like,
the second of those Star Wars pictures.
What flipped you over to go solemn strategy mode here? You make me nervous when you're quiet. Yeah.
Me? Oh. To me, I thought this was like a locked number 1.
Oh wow.
Maybe obviously like maybe an indie. I didn't have any like experience, but to me, I thought this was like going in at number 1. So that's where I'm just like being surprised, I guess, as these movies get played. I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
yeah.
For me, this is his best Han performance.
Yeah.
Even just like from the beginning when he's like, then I'll see you in hell. Like, I love that shit. Like, it's so good. This movie.
I'm not competing with Alden on his Return of the Jedi quest.
Oh boy. Okay.
I don't feel like
we're talking
that.
But to your point though about this movie, I don't want it to sound like, I don't want any Star Wars people to be like, I'm down on Empire. It's one of the greatest things ever made. but I think Empire, what would the kids say? I think Empire gets overly glazed. Just because like it gets, I think Empire might be the most misremembered film of all time. Not anybody here, but in general, like even, and I will call out a man that we also just expressed our love for. I will call out Denis, where like he did that interview recently talking about he would never make a Star Wars because they ruined it with Jedi, talking about how they made it for kids. And it's like, that tells me that you haven't seen New Hope and Empire since you were a kid. Because it's like they are remembered as being serious. Empire is the funniest of the original three by a mile, and it also is the schmaltziest. And as the director Irvin Kershner would say, it's full of smooching. Like he's got them making out in the Falcon while they're trying to do repairs, and "I Love You, I Know," which is maybe the greatest romantic scene in a genre movie. Like it's what it is for a reason. So all that being said, I'm okay with it being 4 instead of 1.
So Ben, you mentioned this being a lock at 1. If I were to veto this, what happens? What do we do as a group? Do you play this next, Ben? Do you play this at 3, or do you want to see it all the way? Because if Alden needs Return of the Jedi, then like realistically we have 2 free spots here.
Yeah.
But you said you're not playing any franchise. I'm just curious.
So you could play it at 2.
I could. I mean, I'd have to make concessions with some of you. Like, you know, The Fugitive's still out there, guys. I gotta be honest, Ben. I was hoping for you, Ben, to come out and play The Fugitive at 3. I thought you'd be my savior. You said non-franchise. Like that's what else? What other non-franchise? You gonna play the conversation?
Well,
there
are some that we wrote off in our banter that Ben might be sitting on. Ben might be ready to bust out Working Girl. You don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm apprehensive to veto this. What if we get fucked?
I like
by Working Girl.
Yeah, or What Lies Beneath, you know?
Yeah. Or what is the K-19 The Widowmaker?
Exactly.
His first collaboration with Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys. This can't be real. Okay.
Look at
just
that
do
K-19
it.
The Widowmaker.
Yes.
Ready to go.
The only person I know that owns it. Guaranteed.
Yeah. I got the only copy they made.
Oh, that's awesome.
Come on, Ethan.
I'm not. No. This is way too risky for me to veto this and then get screwed. No, I'm not. I can't. I can't, guys. We'll keep Empire here.
So Empire makes it at 4, which
I'm disappointed in you, Spray.
People,
yeah.
Guys, we've backed into a corner. Really, like I got to be honest. Over the last 3 picks, I'm not sure we made the right choices. Anyway, Ben, you have number 3.
You could fix that with a veto.
Yeah, well, you've got a veto override. You could just override me and then fuck the board.
It's true.
But it's already on the dock.
I already said I wanted it at number 1. Why would I override you to like keep it at 4? I would love for it to go at 2.
But I'm not going to play it at 2. Well, okay, I guess we're not asking the real question here. Bethanne, if I vetoed Empire Strikes Back, what are you putting here at 4?
I mean, that's the problem because it will be a Star Wars film. And
so what? It'd have to be Return of the Jedi, and then Alden has a veto.
I know, which means I have to put New Hope, and I don't think New Hope. If Return of the Jedi goes higher, I've not returned to that. I'm sorry, Empire Strikes Back goes higher, I'm for it. But like, I just really. I don't know. That's kind of the only choice I can do. I'm
bridging a conversation here to say, hey, if you play The Fugitive at 4, I will in turn play what you guys would like later down the board. The Fugitive has to make the board, okay?
You want me to play The Fugitive at 4?
Well, Ben, are you going to let me play it at 2?
I can't do that.
No, you play Empire at 2.
Then where's The Fugitive going? You're playing it at 3.
Possibly.
Okay, don't give me possibly.
Listen, I don't like all the collab shit. I'm here to.
This is a collaborative
play. No.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm not here for this. Is a competitive collaboration.
Oh my God!
I'm embracing the competitive.
I am not playing The Fugitive at 4. I'm gonna let you know right now.
Okay.
Because I feel strongly that it should be a movie I am connected to.
I can't. We've lingered too long. Empire Strikes Back stays.
Amen.
Okay. Ben, you have number 3. Go ahead. Play Mosquito Coast. Do what you must.
Yeah.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the best indie movie.
Are you being for real?
It's my favorite one. Why wouldn't I want
This
it in
is
the top
real.
3?
You're playing Kingdom of the Crystal Skull at number 3.
Yes.
Oh my God. What? How do we fall from greatness so fast?
I'm not
It's
going to
so
do
good.
anything about this. I'm
Swinging
sitting
through
back.
the vines,
I'm
shining.
happening.
I feel like I need to represent indie on here with you guys. The one I've seen.
This is punishment. This is punishment for what happened earlier.
See, you could have played Empire too.
That has
Super
nothing
fun.
to do with this. That has nothing to do with this at all.
So
I can't
Ethan,
believe what I
you
just
have-
witnessed.
So Ethan, like are you gonna use your veto on this? Like, let's.
You got to.
Well, okay.
There's no way.
Hold on.
Because Ethan, I'm
Why
gonna put
did
hard
Shia
blow with you
LaBeouf go
and
this
say
high on the list?
I'm gonna
Okay.
do like crazy guy negotiating with
Play
like,
with
the
it.
cops
Let's
right now. Like,
Yeah, let's go. We
I
don't
want you
negotiate
to
with
know-
terrorists, is what happens on this show.
I won't veto this, so you're gonna have to. So if you want to stop, it.
But here is how Ben has trained me over our years of podcasting together. Ben always has a worse evil. Like he is playing the lesser evil, and I know it. If I were to veto this, he would in fact play a movie that is far substantially worse. Or he could play The Fugitive, but he doesn't like to be collaborative. We could have it all. But it sounds like someone's just like holding out, and that someone is Ben.
I think it's you with your veto holding out. Like, I'm good with Crystal Skull here.
What are you going to play here instead?
I'm not going to tell you that. I don't like that part of this. I'm not
Also,
gonna
you
tell you what I'm
fucking
gonna
lied.
do.
You fucking lied to us. You're like, I'm not playing a franchise movie, and we get to fucking 3, and you play a franchise film.
I mean, it's
What
not a
is that
franchise to me.
shit?
I've only seen one of them. He's in 5, but I've only seen one of them. So
That is not
Yeah.
how it works.
And honestly, this speaks to a problem that's been going on since 2008.
God.
Crystal Skull gets brought up in conversations. Everybody starts yelling, and no one wants to give it its due.
yeah,
Crystal
this is a fun
Skull's not
movie.
bad. I actually
Crystal
like
Skull's
Crystal Skull.
Fine, but it's
very
not
fun.
great.
But you're going to put Crystal Skull above Empire, Last Crusade, and Raiders.
I didn't
fun.
choose Empire.
You chose Crystal Skull. Ben, it is your choice.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay, I am curious. I'm curious. I'm gonna take the bait. I'm gonna veto
All right,
this.
here we go, baby.
I'm too curious, and you know, curiosity killed the cat, and I'm about to die live on the pod.
I think you'll be okay.
It has been vetoed.
Because I'm not gonna use my veto on Alden at number 1. Like, unless I could have, that would have been interesting.
That would be.
Huh. Not too late for that.
I would
now.
like to think I'm prepared for that scenario too.
Okay.
Hmm.
We may never find out.
If you veto me at 1 with what's on the line, spite is coming out. Not just at
Ooh.
you, but at the end.
Guys,
It'd be kind of
Then
fun.
I'm going to use it to make a point.
I have to drive to the cinema in 10 minutes to watch Mickey 17. If you guys make me late for my Mickey 17 screening, I'm going to be livid.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick the movie that has the second best Chicago parade scene, and that's The Fugitive, behind Ferris Bueller's parade scene.
Correct.
That's how I like to think of these
Everything
movies.
you said is correct.
Yeah, obviously, like this is his, in my opinion, best movie. This is the number 1 for me. The Fugitive.
Okay.
I mean, Tommy Lee Jones. The amount of times I think about myself as Tommy Lee Jones in the tunnel, and it's just like, I don't care. I feel that way
I don't
about
care.
everything in my life almost. Where it's like,
I
don't
my
care.
wife.
Like,
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. This is the best Harrison performance, best, in my opinion, best movie. Like, it's fantastic. It needs to be in the top 3. Again, I would have it higher, but Ethan didn't want to veto, didn't want to collaborate with me, I guess. So, yeah, Fugitive at number 3, top 3.
I will not allow you
These
to
guys
alter
are-
the sacred text like that. That's insane
Yeah.
that you just did
Can
that.
you believe these guys don't want to collaborate? Like,
That's crazy. It's a collaborative draft.
Crazy.
Like, it's in the title.
What a
Your
villain.
fugitive's name is Dr. Richard Kimball. Go get him.
Mhm.
Fucking. This is the movie that I was alluding to. I would just watch this with my dad. What seemed to me every week. Like, I'm sure we watched it 3 times. I feel like I saw this movie 100 times when I was a kid. We always rented it. We always watched it. I am obsessed with The Fugitive. It's a perfect movie. I love you, Ben, and I think the fences that we have jumped over to get here have been unbelievably large.
Mm-hmm.
I also find myself in a predicament that I don't know what to play at number 2 because I was going to play The Fugitive.
We could have played Empire Strikes Back.
So, but then what goes at 4?
It's true.
Okay.
Christmas ball. No.
What could have been? Huh. Ooh, okay. I don't like this position that I am in.
8 minutes to showtime.
Okay. So here are the legitimate options. Empire's been played. We've got A New Hope. We've got Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
We've all agreed Temple of Doom will not make this list. We have Dial of Destiny. We have Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. We have Working Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I said Crystal Skull.
Frantic, Clear and Present Danger.
I know a lot of those movies I haven't seen though, unfortunately.
K-19.
Yeah.
Firewall? I remember watching Firewall as a kid.
Yeah.
Regarding
Homicide.
Henry.
Could I just play what if I just played like The Age of Adeline? And I just whatever.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Is it good? I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, Blake Lively, Tough Beat. Not gonna play that. Okay. Alden, you want to play Return of the Jedi at number 1, is that correct?
Are you asking as a friend or like
I am asking as a friend. We're the only two left. We're on an island together.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So you want to play Return of the Jedi at number 1?
Yeah.
It only seems fit that we play A New Hope here. Is that right? Are we doing the right thing?
You will get no pushback on me with that plan. I will say, unless we're looking at this and it's like there has to be a because Blade Runner covered, Indy at this point covered. Even though for me, I will say before podcast time runs out and Ethan has to go get his concessions, I will say, Dial of Destiny.
Good movie,
fantastic movie. Is my second favorite, which is maybe sacrilege. But I love that movie. It's just this man's career is too vast. If you want to go New Hope 2, Jedi 1, I will be the happiest camper that there has ever been.
Well, let it be known, let the record show that I appease the people, and I do as those people wish. I'll be playing A New Hope here at number 2. Incredible. And allowing Alden to play Return of the Jedi at number 1. Unless Alden were to veto this, which for some strange reason, I'm not sure you would.
It'd be funny.
Yeah, just to cause terror, just to see if I can get Crystal Skull in there even higher. I like it. I'm shocked, honestly. Like when I looked, going into this, I was like, the things I'm married to are Jedi Crusade 2049. Any version of this that did not have them was gonna piss me off low key. And then it was like, okay, it's coming together. But when 2049 and Crusade, 2 films that I think most people critically would agree are better than Jedi, went before it, I was like, oh man, am I gonna have to try to do shenanigans? And I was shocked. I was shocked, honestly, that I got it high, let alone 1. This is a cultural victory for the Ewoks and for me.
Yeah, for the moon planet of Endor. Yeah.
And this is what I was referring to when people say Harrison checked out. They always say he checked out on Jedi, and I firmly disagree with it. He's got some of the best Harrison comedy moments. Han's arc is solidified. The him becoming General Solo, because Leia says she loves him in Empire, but Leia does not firmly jump into this is my man until he steps up at the briefing and adopts her cause. She wasn't going to date a scrub that it wasn't a true believer. And he comes out of being frozen for a year and is like, I'm more committed now. And that is, I think, the testament for the character.
That's the secret, ladies. Freeze your man for a year.
Freeze your man.
Put him in
carbonite. Crawling back.
All you got to do.
What if I were to say we got this right? It seems like we might have done so.
This is a good list.
At least more right than wrong.
Good.
Is that fair to say?
I think we did good.
Yeah, solid.
I mean, I'm looking at the things that didn't get in, and it's like things I like Dial of Destiny, like regarding
Sure.
Henry, his first collaboration with J.J. Abrams, because he wrote that movie. And I am like, yeah, sad, Sabrina, working girl, but like nothing that I'm like, damn,
Yeah. Nothing really jumping out as a big glaring miss. So I think we have completed the Harrison Ford collaborative draft here on the Movie Draft Podcast. Let me run through this real fast just to see how it all shook out. In number 13, we got American Graffiti. Number 12, Star Wars The Force Awakens. Number 11, Presumed Innocent. Number 10, Air Force One. Number 9 is Blade Runner, The Final Cut. Number 8 is Blade Runner 2049. Number 7 is Witness. Number 6, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 5, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Number 4 is The Empire Strikes Back. Number 3, The Fugitive. Number 2, Star Wars A New Hope. And number 1 is Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I'm floored. Like, this has been a roller coaster. Ben, what a time for us in our relationship.
We did it. Not under 100 minutes, but we did
it. Ben,
real talk. Will you go on the record now that it's over and answer a question truthfully? So help you go.
Yeah.
When you played Skull, was it just a chaos tactic or did you fully believe?
Oh, yeah. I just want the veto out of Ethan. That's all. I just want to see if he would do it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Because it all would have worked out and I was frustrated. So I'm like, I'm going to get this veto out of you then.
Yeah.
Why? What's the why though? Why? Like why?
Just to know
nobody has ever hosted a show and been the show's victim so consistently.
That's true.
It's just a pure power play, just to know you have the power over me.
Yeah,
You're sick.
Awesome.
You were sick.
Glad
sick
to be
man.
back.
It was wonderful to have you here. We have done it. We have completed the Harrison Ford collaborative draft. Huge thank you to both Alden and Bethanne for joining us on the pod. Alden, if people want to find more of you, where can they find you at?
You can find me at that Alden Diaz, THATALDENDIAZ, on Instagram and Blue Sky, where the handles are a little dumb. It's like .bsky.social. I hope they clean that up eventually, but there's no one else in the world that has the name Alden Diaz, so it should be fine.
Nice.
I call forth our listener named Alden Diaz. Please prove Alden wrong. I'm sure you're out there somewhere. There's got to be another one. Bethanne, if people want to find more of you, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Bethanne Tarpley. That's where I'm most active these days. I'm also on Blue Sky, just kind of hanging out there, vibing. I'm on Twitter because there's other people on Twitter right now, but I'm always looking for an exit strategy. So, that's where you can find me.
Love it. Follow Bethanne, follow Alden, check out their pods for sure. Ben, huge thanks to you for co-hosting with me and exhibiting your power over me. Thanks so much. I don't know whether to feel honored or less than. I'm really not sure.
It was collaborative. I played something, you vetoed it. We did it together.
Okay. I think we have different definitions of collaborative. Sophie, I hope you're having fun on the beach in Mexico and not on this podcast. Be sure to listen and subscribe to the Movie Draft Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes will be released weekly on Tuesdays. We'll see you then.